YouTube, what is up?
What is up, YouTube?
Woo!
Let's news.
Wrong one.
Yeah.
YouTube, what is up?
Woo!
And I can hear myself.
Yep. No, you can't. Okay, we are live on the YouTubies. We're gonna do some quick sharing so all
Yes.
you wonderful people can watch.
All right, let me get the chat ready here too. There we go. Wait, that's not it. That's the old one. There we go. Can you set up the thing to where it has a side by side instead of who's talking?
Unfortunately, I've got it set that way, but YouTube is kind of let's see if it's still doing it.
All right,
I don't have control over YouTube sometimes. There we go. Now it kicked in.
Okay, cool. All right, where is the chat? Whoops. There we go. Nope. All right, hang in there, you two. We're getting we're a little rusty today.
Yeah, well, you haven't done this enough.
The chat is being a little difficult here, saying something went wrong. All right. You getting any feed on the chat over there? Because mine's saying something went wrong on my end here.
You can give me 1 sec.
All right. We got some interesting news today. Is it is it hot or is it cold down there in Florida?
It's Florida. It's never cold. You forget who you're talking to, Mr. Reitzel. My definition of cold is much more skewered than the average person.
This is true. Ooh, that's a good one, Lacey. Lacey has a good suggestion for a anti-Valentine's Day movie. One I actually really like.
Okay, got some shares out there. Give it a minute here. Let everybody get in and going. I'm going to start some recordings here. Okay, recording's going. It's been a little bit for this, so you know.
I'm looking on our channel here. I can't see the chat.
I can see the chat, but we still haven't got people watching yet. It's one of those last minute kind of things. Test something now. Well, are we ready, sir?
I'm ready, man. Let's do this thing. You still playing the intro to Culture Clash, right?
Oh, I've got everything right here.
Okay.
I'm professional. So one of us is professional. So we do have a lot of news, a lot of reviews. So without further ado, hey, we got some watchers too. So, hey, welcome. We enjoy you. But we're going to get ready. So let's do this thing.
This is the Culture Clash.
And welcome to Culture Clash number 193 already, as things just keep happening in fandom. Kevin, how you been? And it's been about 3 weeks since we last did a CC.
Yeah, doing good. I mean, we've been busy doing other stuff. Real quick, we're on YouTube. Kat says the chat's not working on his end either. Is there something that we didn't need to turn on, or is YouTube being kind of a boob?
I think YouTube's being a boob.
Okay, because I mean, mine says something went wrong. So hopefully, I don't know, refresh, Kat. Thank you for checking in. We'll see if we can get it going here. So we'll see. I hope so. Anyway, yeah, we got some stuff to talk about, man. We released a new podcast, and yeah, so a lot of stuff in fandom.
I don't know, I'm sleepy, but we do have a lot of stuff to talk about, Kevin. But before we get started, I'm going to tell everybody where they can find not only Culture Clash, if you're not watching it live on YouTube, but where you can find it and all the great shows on the Fandom Podcast Network. And it all starts, of course, at our homepage at fpnet.podbean.com. Of course, you can also use the Podbean app and search for the Fandom Podcast Network. Of course, we're on all major podcast catchers as well. Most importantly, we are on Apple Podcasts / iTunes. Of course, you can visit our Facebook page, Fandom Podcast Network. You can email us at fandompodcastnetwork@gmail.com. Of course, we're on Instagram, Fandom Podcast Network, and Twitter at FanPod Network. I'm Kyle. You can find me on Twitter at AKyleW or on Instagram, AKyleFandom. Kevin, I think people know where to find you on social media, but why don't you give them a reminder?
Twitter and Instagram at Spartan_Phoenix. I still have a MySpace page too, if anyone matters. So,
didn't you say something about a Tinder page?
No, I never got into that. Yeah, MySpace. Yeah.
Of course, there's a couple great ways you can support the Fandom Podcast Network. Obviously, here on our YouTube channel, you can subscribe, give us a like. That's why you get notified when we go live and have these crazy little shows that we like to do every once in a while. Of course, too, you can go to our TeePublic store where we've got all the gear of the Fandom Podcast Network. Just search for the Fandom Podcast Network or type in the name of your favorite show on the FP Net, and you'll be able to find the gear. We got some new gear coming soon. I know Type 40 has undergone a regeneration, so they got a little bit of a new look. So does Lethal Mullet. Finally going to have a quality shirt up on the Fandom Podcast Network page. And of course, we have a new podcast that we are still working on, getting a few fine-tuned things out, but we will have a shirt out for that new podcast. And we're going to tell you about that here shortly. But also, too, we love those reviews, especially on iTunes. Those 5-star reviews are great, but we love the feedback in general because, as always, it helps us to make better podcasts to feed your ears. Now, Ken, would you like to explain why all of a sudden I have a new weekly show to edit?
So, first episode of WandaVision drops. Remember that? That was kind of exciting. You know, we're all excited. We're watching the new episode on that Friday, the January the 15th. Episodes 1 and 2 dropped, and we were kind of like, what's going on here? What's with the sitcom stuff? And I contacted you on Sunday after I got off work that day, and I said, Kyle, with all the new Marvel Cinematic Universe stuff coming out, Marvel MCU, so to speak, maybe we should do a podcast. You know, we got some stuff to cover. You know, we're excited about it. Disney Plus is happening. We know some movies are scheduled to come out sometime. Maybe we should add that to the Fandom Podcast Network family, because it was something I think we had kind of touched on, or at least segment-wise on Culture Clash. And I said, you want to do it? And you're like, yeah.
Of course, Kevin, yeah, let's stop and be honest here. You didn't realize the forces you unleashed when you asked me that.
This is very, very true, and we'll get into that. By the way, regarding the chat, can you double check? Because it says that it's enabled. Are you sure there's something in there that we didn't click so people can check the chat? Because
I'm in the chat, and I just
refreshing
posted
is
something.
not helping it. I don't know if there's something we can do.
I just refreshed the chat and I typed
nothing in the
and
settings that says enable or enable chat or shut off chat, anything like that.
Nothing that I see.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. Sorry, guys. Sometimes something happens. We'll try and figure it out, and we'll get back to you guys. But yeah, back to the podcast. We're covering Marvel, man.
I think it's more like Marvel is burying us, but that's a whole other story
We'll
later
get
on.
into the schedule, but yeah, it's called the FPN True Believers Marvel MCU podcast. So, yeah, I mean it's a big thing now, and we're gonna try and make sure that we're on top of that one way or another. So, and we've had some fun guests. We had Sarah and Richard Woloski from Skywalking Through Neverland. Drew Kaplan came on as well from Star Wars Maven, and we had Dan Hadley on. Had my friend Dave Fielding from the UK on as well, and we're looking to get guests for the MCU True Believers podcast throughout this season. So.
Yeah, no, it's been a lot of fun so far. I get to flex my Marvel muscle a little bit. It feels good to get that going again.
Yeah, I thought it was funny. I was like, when I was asking you seriously, I said, "Who do you think we could get to host this thing?" And you're like, "Well, me." Because let's be honest, your Marvel knowledge with the comics is crucial to this. So yeah, there you go.
Yep. So we have that, but Kevin, we talk a little Marvel, but let's hit the control stick and switch it over a little bit to DC, because you brought up to me yesterday in an off mic chat some conversation about the Snyder Cut, which is coming up, and how you feel like there is
what's the Snyder Cut for those people that don't know?
The Justice League movie, the Snyder Cut.
Yeah.
You feel that there's a significant historical aspect to this film.
Yeah. It is. This, just like the Marvel Cinematic Universe has its historical value to it, this DC Justice League is, and if someone can correct me or show me differently, this is the first time a movie has been taken back by its original director, who had to drop out for personal reasons, come back to the project. And keep in mind too, after a lot of fans complaining about the original cut that Josh Whedon eventually and the studio released, because they wanted to get some money out of this thing and keep it on schedule. A lot has to do with the fan backlash, or whatever you want to call it, that a movie is basically, almost in a way, most of it or half of it feels like it's being reshot to the vision that he wanted to do, because he's been given so much power to do this, to help promote and launch, of course, HBO Max, to attract subscribers, in addition to all of the other programming that they have. They're spending over $20 million, getting a lot of these, getting all the main stars back to film new stuff. Now, this isn't like a director going back and like Ridley Scott going back to, let's say, several of his films, Kingdom of Heaven and Blade Runner. This isn't like Apocalypse Now redo, where they're going back and like taking scenes that were cut out. They're shooting like almost a brand new movie here, and seems like they're changing a lot. They're adding a lot. This is unprecedented.
Not quite. By the way, the chat is back up, and I'm going to throw out to our buddy Carlos here. He threw out a good example: the Richard Donner cut of Superman 2. That is a pretty significant. There's a lot of significant change.
How much of that went back and he reshot?
There was actually nothing.
There was a lot of stuff that was on the cutting room floor. I know there was a little bit of reshoots there, but not to what it looks like what they're doing here. And was there a fan backlash on Superman 2 that bad to where they said, let's recut this? And how much later did that one come out too?
I don't think it's fair to compare, because there was no internet when Superman 2
exactly
came out.
So I think that I don't think anything compares to this. I really don't. This is unprecedented.
Okay. So here's what I'm going to say as far as this goes, and then I got something to talk about related to this.
Well, I got one more point I wanted to make about that.
Okay, well, make your point, and then we'll rebuttal.
Is this movie going to be completely different? Like, how much of the major plot points are going to change because of this?
Okay, so let's hit rewind here. So Zack Snyder was basically hired to build the DC movie universe. He had done Man of Steel. He had done Batman versus Superman, which set up a lot for what was supposed to happen in Justice League. Of course, we also have a Snyder cut of that as well, the extended director's cut. Then Justice League comes around. Snyder starts it, leaves because of a personal tragedy. It's handed over to the studio by Joss Whedon, who really goes probably, compared to what people seem to think, I think he rewrites at least 3/4 of this film.
And to make it sure.
I think we're going to find out here very shortly, and I'll get to the reason why for that here.
Because I'm not convinced he did a bunch. I mean, he might have done some, but I think a lot had to do with the studio itself.
Well, and we're going to get to that. I think the studio asked for a lot of rewrites, and Whedon conformed while Zack Snyder didn't. And like I said, give me a minute. We're going to get to that. I do think there's going to be a lot of the basic ideas that we saw in that were set up in the first half of Justice League in the Snyder Cut. I do think there's going to be a lot of expansion upon those ideas. The Mother Box is still going to be important. Apocalypse, the Mother Box, which was the device that they took from Atlantis.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
Yeah, exactly. But that's another point we're going to get to. The only reason, in my mind, Justice League is happening is not because of the fans screaming for it. It's because HBO Max was coming out, and they were like, we really need something to sell this. Oh, we have all these fans screaming for HBO Max. If we put this out, they're all going to subscribe to HBO Max to watch it.
Hold on. The fans weren't screaming for HBO Max. They were screaming for a better version.
They were screaming for the Snyder Cut.
The Snyder Cut of, okay.
Gotcha. That's what I meant. The Snyder Cut. And they're all going to subscribe to HBO Max to watch it. We'll make our $20 million back easy on this, and they're going to see this Snyder Cut, and they're going to want to stay for all the other programs, because HBO Max, Kevin, you have to admit, you've just dived into it a little bit. You're finding some good stuff on it.
Oh yeah, we already had HBO, so it comes with it free, and you can download the app with your subscription information. But yeah, there's a wonderful, huge slew of films and television programs there. So yeah, definitely. And if we didn't have the whole HBO Home set up anyway, I would probably subscribe to it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, exactly. I've been thoroughly impressed with it so far, and there's a lot of great HBO stuff on it, but that's neither here nor there. I think it was meant to be a selling point for HBO Max, and things kind of have changed. And I wonder if this announcement had happened first, whether the Snyder Cut would have happened. It has the fact that HBO reached a deal with, and HBO Max and Warner Brothers decided, hey, we're going to put all our movies out for the year 2021 on HBO Max the same time they're supposed to hit the theaters.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm wondering if that decision would have been made before Snyder Cut, if they would have invested into it.
Well, the fact that they made the announcement, to me, what's selling it for me is that announcement alone, that all of those scheduled theatrical releases are now going to be going straight to HBO Max in addition to it. So if you don't have a theater that's open because of COVID situation, that alone is great. Get to see, get to see Dune at home. Sure. Why not?
Yeah, exactly. But so I think the selling point of Snyder's cut is down a little compared to what it was. But here's where things get interesting. Kevin, you were asking me, was there an article or something that we can discuss the history of this? How did this happen? I can do better than that. On March 1st, according to Sci-Fi Wire, a book that has been written by Sean O'Connell is called The Snyder Cut, the crazy true story behind the fight that saved Zack Snyder's Justice League, is coming out. And we've got a couple of interesting pieces about this. Obviously, they talk about the big social media swell, a lot of people selling shirts, everything that happens on social media. But here's something that's very interesting that I don't think is very common knowledge until now. Snyder's family tragedy wasn't the only reason he left Justice League. I'm just going to read from this article. It's long been reported that the reason Snyder stepped away from the Justice League director chair was due to the death of his and his wife, Deborah Snyder's daughter. But in the book, Snyder admits the constant battles with the studio over the movie was also a major factor in leaving the project. Snyder was quoted to say, "I was just kind of done with it." He said, "I had no energy to fight the studio and to fight for the movie, literally zero energy for that."
So that's why I think the studio had a lot to do with the cut that Whedon directed. I felt kind of Whedon came in and did what he did because of what he did with the Avengers series. He knows how to handle a big budget movie with superheroes and stuff. I don't know how much control he had on the rewrites and stuff. Maybe that book will say. We'll know. We'll find out.
Yeah,
So.
I'd be curious to read it. Maybe I'll pick it up on a digital reader or something like that.
Regarding the new trailer that dropped for Justice League, I just want to say, not really excited. Most of it looks the same. It looks like it's all shot in dark light, low light, which is one of my biggest pet peeves against CG backgrounds. I did enjoy the original or the release that had the extended version to a certain degree, but I'll be honest with you, my favorite part of this whole DC universe with Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman is not only Wonder Woman, but Ben Affleck is Batfleck. I love his version of Wayne and Batman. I think he's great. I know a lot of people gave him crap, but I'm gonna stand by it. I think he's one of the best.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I like Ben Affleck.
He's on the verge of becoming the Dark Knight version that we got from Frank Miller comic book. He's almost there. He lost Robin. He's grizzled. He's in pain and he's getting old. So
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm. It's morbid curiosity that makes me want to see this. I'm curious to see what Zack Snyder's. I'm
gonna watch it. Maybe not all in one sitting.
Yeah, not if it's a 4 hour. You're talking a 4 hour movie that I think, I'm sorry, is going to have moments in it that are just a slog. Just because I think he's going. I look at Zack Snyder's films. His best, to me, his best story film was 300, which Frank Miller wrote. Watchmen at times is very much a slog. Sucker Punch is beautiful visually.
Makes no sense though.
Makes no sense.
I like Watchmen. Watchmen's my favorite, I think, of those. So anyway, yeah.
I think Man of Steel actually has some beautiful cinematography. I think all Zack Snyder's films are actually beautiful to look at. They're visual masterpieces, but story-wise, it gets a little rough. And I know that a lot of people felt Batman versus Superman was way too dark, and he continued that with this Justice League cut. So,
all right, let's move on from Justice League. We're done.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting how it's going to play out. Anyway, we got a lot of stuff to cover in news, so without further ado...
Let's news!
So, to be honest with you out there watching and the people in the chat and everything else, our top story is something Kevin and I had to kind of discuss before we decided what direction we were going to take in it. Obviously, if you have been on social media, you have been blasted with this. It's almost unavoidable if you're a fan of any kind.
Can we make a clarification? Because I don't know if a lot of people know this about our fandom podcast network.
Absolutely.
Kind of creed that we haven't really promoted it, Kyle, but it's something that you and I agreed on when we started this network, was that we didn't want to talk politics first and foremost. Okay. And we wanted to basically be a network that provided material and content to fandom, which also in a way we wanted to provide material that lets you escape from your everyday crap and the stuff that was going on in the real world. We wanted to talk about fandom stuff. We weren't going to cover politics. But then sometimes topics come up that are uncomfortable, and you and I will discuss them, whether or not we want to address them, and we should, or if it's something that maybe be better left to someone's more political arena that doesn't follow any platforms that we like to electively cover. But this was one that we had to discuss.
Yeah, and of course, I think that's very fair. I mean, of course, what we're talking about is the Gina Carano situation with The Mandalorian. She was released for some social media comments that she put out. We're not going to get into what she said and the whole ramifications of that, of what she said and the debate with that. That's been debated for other places, and that's for places that specialize in that kind of thing. But we are going to talk about, though, is the impact it does have on the Star Wars universe. Because it does have an impact, whether we want to admit it or not. We're not going to sit here and argue, should she have been fired, should she not have been fired. That's not, it's what's done is done. But we are going to talk about how should Lucasfilm handle this going forward, and what's the impact. And Kevin, I think there is an impact on Mandalorian. A lot of people like the Cara Dune character. I thought it was a pretty well done character, but I think we can also move on without the Cara Dune character as well. I don't think there's a need to recast the character. I think it's best to just leave it as is and move forward. Maybe we tell that character story in books or animated format at this point.
Yeah. So wait, what? Are you asking me something, or
Yeah, I'm asking what your
are you
thoughts
giving your opinion?
Yeah, I'm giving my opinion on what Lucasfilm could do going forward.
Well, I think the decision's been made. The character of Cara Dune will probably not be used at all going forward. These articles I found, they're not even going to be producing any more Cara Dune figures and toys. They're going to write this person off basically completely. And the way that, the Mandalorian season 2 ended, her coming back is not crucial. They probably had plans for that character with maybe the what was the
Ranger show that they were doing?
The Ranger show. Well, it's going to be written with someone else now. When you part ways with someone like that, depending on where that character is, you either drop it and forget it, or you recast. The way that this character has been dealt with thus far, the way that it ended with the spoiler alert, season 2 Mandalorian appearance of Luke Skywalker. She was there, but her appearance, she came in as kind of a favor. I'm going to help you out, Mandalorian type thing. She's still a marshal in the town that Grief Karga is right now. But her character obviously was given that little thing. She can move on and do something else, and they won't touch it and move along with it. And then that's basically the best thing they can do with that.
Yeah, I agree. And I do want to hit up one quick thing on the recasting talk, Kevin, because I know that was prominent there for a little bit. The comparison I'm going to make to this is Terrence Howard from Iron Man, as he got recast. The character of Rhodey got recast by with Don Cheadle taking over. Here's the difference. The character of Rhodey is a long-established character that was crucial to the Iron Man mythos. Yep. You had to have that character. Yep. Cara Dune is a brand-new character created within the realm of the Mandalorian.
Completely different situation.
Yeah, exactly.
They obviously had plans for that character, and Terrence Howard wanted to play ball with a paycheck, and he lost. So
yeah, don't be a Terrence Howard.
I do want to say this. Social media, whether you like it or not, is very influential. Okay. It is judge, jury, and professional business execution. Twitter, its nickname is the cesspool of social media. Whether you like it or not, if you have a Twitter account, the cesspool is being either heavily weighted in, or people like us, Kyle, we dip our toes in because we want to promote what we do here on the Fandom Podcast Network. Freedom of speech is free, but not free of consequences. So if you are going to go on a platform like this and you work for a company that has its own kind of direction and values and stuff like that, you have to be aware of where you stand with your platform and how you present it. If you want to talk politics, and you want to jump into the politic pool, which is also very negative and even deeper in the cesspool, then that has to be your venue. If you want to work for a company like Disney or DC, and you don't want to make waves, you shut your mouth and you be a good employee.
I agree with that. Kevin, you also brought up a point, something we talked about too a little off mic was, I kind of equated this to Gina Carano's ability to read the room, and she couldn't do it.
Yeah, reading the room is very important, and
if you're gonna be on social media, you need to kind of, or any kind of being able to quote read the room. You need to kind of be able to feel what the heartbeat is of that. There are ways to get your opinion out without being so blunt with it. Social media you have to use with a scalpel, not a club. And
when it comes to any polarizing view, if you want to take part in that, then you're going to have to accept any responsibility and backlash that it comes back to you.
Yeah. And so we've seen it play out. We've got our situation. So Exactly. No, Brian Kenny in the chat, he said, "No, you know your audience." And
Yep.
especially when you're in a celebrity situation, know your audience. But
Yep. Yep.
let's talk about something else at Disney, Kevin. We started this Marvel podcast. I blame you for this.
Bring it. Bring it. Ultimate
I hope everybody's a fan of all of you who maybe missed the MCU over the past year, since we really, until WandaVision, didn't have really anything MCU since Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yeah, if you were burnt out on the MCU,
or if you were really missing the MCU and ready for more, we've got some MCU for you. Starting now, there will basically be on Disney Plus or in the theaters something MCU related every week for the rest of this year, supposedly.
I want to ask the chat listening, how do you feel the fact that we're going to have Marvel Cinematic content every week this entire year, which includes the Disney Plus series and the movies in the theater and the behind the scenes features that will be coming out celebrating each of these on their completion? What do you think?
While the chat ponders that question and wait to hear from them, let's look at the schedule here, Kevin. Obviously, we have WandaVision.
Keep in mind, I think this is tentative. I think this is a plan they're going to try and stick to, but until it's actually confirmed, I heard it from a friend, and then I saw these other links and I posted them on social media. But yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so a lot of the schedule after Shang-Chi is not 100% confirmed.
Well, so go through the order anyway. Don't jump around. Yeah.
So WandaVision going on now. The series itself ends March 5th. Then we were supposed to have a week break between WandaVision and the start of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But oh no! We are getting the gallery treatment with the making of WandaVision on March 12th, Kevin. I'm actually excited about this. I'm very curious to see how much they talk about the sitcom aspect of WandaVision. Then starting March 19th through April 23rd, we have the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, a series I'm incredibly excited about.
6 episodes.
6 episodes, but as Anthony Mackie has said, each one is movie quality, and I believe that. And of course, then April 30th, we have the gallery, the making of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Supposedly now, as it stands, May 7th, the Black Widow releases in theaters. The following week, May 14th, we have the making of the Black Widow on Disney+. Following that, on May 21st, the long-awaited Loki series, which will run 6 episodes through June 25th, followed by, on July 2nd, a making of Loki special. Then, supposedly July 9th, the Shang-Chi movie comes out, followed on Disney Plus by a making of Shang-Chi. After this is a lot of speculation about what we're going to get, and even still, we don't 100% know about the future of these MCU films in theaters because nobody knows for sure what's going on with COVID. But starting July 23rd, the much anticipated animated What If series starts, and this will bring back a lot of the actors from the MCU to voice their characters in animated style. Following What If, we have supposedly starting September 24th, Miss Marvel. And I'm very intrigued by this because Miss Marvel is supposed to lead then to November 5th release.
Back up. Mm-hmm. Miss Marvel, is this supposed to be the Monica Rambeau character?
No, this is the young Kamala Khan Miss Marvel character.
Okay.
Ties in with Carol Danvers.
Gotcha. There's 6 episodes of this.
Yeah, there's 6 episodes of this. Now, the character of Monica Rambeau is supposed to make an appearance in this series. So We'll see about that. November 5th is the Eternals, which I find very interesting because that might have some tie-ins to Miss Marvel, depending on
this
how
is the movie that's supposed to have Angelina Jolie in it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Kit Harington also in this, playing the Black Knight.
Okay.
A few other interesting people. But the series I'm actually really excited about, too, on this list is Hawkeye. Because not only do we have Jeremy Renner returning as Hawkeye, and you know what? I'm going to be glad to see Renner get kind of a spotlight as Hawkeye because I like Jeremy Renner. I think he's very underrated, and I'm looking forward to, but also looking forward to him more as Hawkeye. But also Haley Steinfeld from True Grit, The Edge of 17, a very good young up and coming actress.
Perfect movies, 2 and 3.
Yeah, she's playing the character of Kate Bishop, who is kind of the character, young female version of Hawkeye. She's become kind of a protege of Clint Barton in the comics, of course tied into the Young Avengers as well, which I have been typing on True Believers that it looks like they're trying to set that up for somewhere down the line.
That is 6 episodes, November 9th through the 17th, with a making of special on December 24th.
I am now tired, Kevin, just reading this. What do you think? Do you think this comes to fruition like this?
It's ambitious, but this is Marvel. Marvel did a 10-year plus plan and continuing of this cinematic universe. And this is the perfect way to keep and add your Disney Plus subscribers. It's genius. By the way, with Mandalorian, I was telling you it was affecting my sleeping habits on
Now WandaVision is
Friday mornings. I return to that for WandaVision. I get up, I go to bed. After this podcast, Kyle, I'm going to bed because I'm getting up early to watch this new, hour episode of WandaVision before I go to work in the morning because I get up early anyway. Am I going to be doing that every freaking Friday now for the rest of this year?
I think you're going to be safe at least. I will see what Falcon and Winter Soldier, but yeah, I can see that doing at least through Falcon and Winter Soldier and then later on in the year. I want to hit the chat real quick, Kevin.
Yes.
Carlos M says it can be too much of a good thing, but everyone can take it in at their leisure as needed, and that's true. On the Disney Plus side, you do have control over that. Jen said she's excited for all the behind-the-scenes info, but it may be overkill. It might be a little too much. It might be overwhelming.
Well, like I said, this is stuff you can watch on your own time, but if you're a Marvel fanatic, you're going to be like watching it every week,
Yeah. Kat talks about being very excited for What If. I'm very curious about that myself. He also mentions it is the Kamala Khan Miss Marvel, and he wants to know if it says Hawkeye is one of his favorite characters. Carlos wants to know if Hawkeye is going to finally get to wear his mask. Jennifer says every day for the rest of your working life, Kevin, you will be waking up that.
I know, right?
For a Marvel show. So,
we got a lot of Marvel doing, and we'll do our best to cover it. We'll see.
So we have a couple of little things. Kevin, you have an article here that's diving a little bit more into Marvel Studios announces Assembled, the behind-the-scenes look at the making of Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, it's basically the Disney Plus. It's the Avengers Assemble. Is that what it is? Yeah, Avengers Assemble. Basically, it is their version of the Disney gallery behind the Mandalorian stuff. They're going to have their own behind the scenes with probably guest interviews and stuff like that. That will be fun to watch. So
yeah. Now, truthfully, the key for this schedule to work right now is Black Widow, Kevin.
Why are you thinking this is not going to come out on May 7th? You're like, oh, let's see. Come on. It's going to come out May 7th. Whether it comes out in the theater or not, it's coming out May 7th because it has to for the rest of this stuff to follow suit. You can't delay this any longer.
Well, let's talk about this. The Hollywood Reporter reports that while Disney remains committed to a theatrical release for Black Widow, Disney CEO Bob Chapek left the door open for the theatrical release to be scrapped when he told investors during Disney's earnings call on this past Thursday that they were watching very carefully to see whether the strategy needs to be revisited. We are still intending for it to be a theatrical release, Chapek said. We are going to be watching very carefully to see whether the strategy needs to be revisited. Among the factors Chapek said Disney will consider are the number of theaters open in the United States on May 7th when Black Widow is currently set to open and what audiences demand to see in a movie theater at that time. Disney and Kevin Feige and Marvel have been very committed to making this movie come out in the theaters to kind of be a welcome back to theaters kind of movie, Kevin. I just don't know. Do you think that people are going to be ready to go back to the theaters? The average person is going to be ready to go back to the theaters by May 7th.
No, I don't think so.
You and I were different cases, but
I honestly, I did not enjoy myself when I went to go see Tenet. I did not like all of the precaution stuff. I didn't like not getting my refill, and I didn't like sitting where I wanted to sit. It was not fun. I would rather watch this at home, the comfort, and having to feel like I go through a, they just might have sprayed me down type of thing. I just did not enjoy it. So hopefully COVID cases will go down with the, of course, with the vaccines and stuff, and cases will drop, and maybe they'll ease up the restrictions a little bit. But I didn't enjoy having to go to a movie theater to wear a mask as well. Even though I wear my mask like everyone else does, didn't enjoy it.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's going to be interesting to see. I'll be very
and then
curious.
Not liking Tenet was a different thing. The movie just made no sense.
Yeah, I'm still confused. Kevin, are you backwards or forwards? I'm confused.
I don't know.
Well, let's talk. Let's flip that switch back over to DC real quick in HBO Max, because HBO Max has been gearing itself up to be kind of the home for all DC product. And a lot of people forget, because this happened right before COVID really hit strong last year. Warner Brothers hired J.J. Abrams to become kind of the Kevin Feige version of for the DC universe.
We kind of forgot about that, but it sucks that we haven't really gotten any updates on that.
Well, that's about to change, because we have at least one new J.J. Abrams project that is now in development for HBO Max, and that is going to be a John Constantine series. We've heard a lot of different versions of Constantine out there. A lot of people have been screaming for Keanu to come back as Constantine. I think his schedule's a little full. Of course, there's John Constantine being portrayed in the DC Arrowverse right now, wonderfully by Matt Ryan, and a lot of people would love to see him get more of a chance to play a Constantine without the PG-13 handcuffs on him.
True, and it's also another good side project for Matt Ryan when his Falcons start to suck.
Wrong, Matt Ryan.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
This isn't the End Zone, Kevin. We talked about this.
Sorry, had to go there.
But this is definitely planning to be a darker R-rated type show, and it is probably going to lead into J.J. Abrams' first really huge project for HBO Max, and that is Justice League Dark. Now, Kevin, I can already see you, the hamster, going, what is Justice League Dark? I'm confused. Yeah, so you can see the look on his face. Yeah. Justice League Dark was introduced several years ago in the DC Comics. Basically, it is kind of another version of the Justice League with more people who have a little bit less morals. Batman was kind of the leader of this team for a short time, and he kind of helped form it. They deal with like a lot of dark magic kind of matters and a little bit more on the villainous side.
Okay, I don't care. I want J.J. Abrams to talk to Kevin Feige and reset the entire DC movie universe. And I want to be able to start seeing brand new Supermans and Batmans that work together in a cohesive storytelling unit before I turn 60 years old.
Chat, would you please tell Kevin there's asking for miracles and then there's asking for the impossible? Here is the end of the day. Here's the problem with Warner Brothers in the DC universe.
This is another show, dude. Make it quick.
Yeah, I'm going to make it quick. There's too many projects going on, and Warner Brothers decided after the success of Aquaman to make every single movie kind of more of its standalone thing. They're not going to mess with Robert Pattinson, the Batman. That doesn't tie into anything. The Suicide Squad that James Gunn's doing is a whole new thing. Doesn't even tie into. Not supposed to tie into the original sequel. They can't make up. Warner Bros. Cannot make up their mind, and they can't help themselves. It's sad.
They're just in for the quick buck. Let's just put it that way.
Exactly.
They don't care about content.
However, this is going to be fun, Kevin, because if James Gunn, the Suicide Squad is good, this series will be even better. One of the characters they're introducing in James Gunn's The Suicide Squad is Peacemaker, a superhero who basically will make peace happen no matter what he has to do it. And, of course, this character is being played by WWE performer John Cena, who probably most people will know him right now as the Marine from the first Marine film with Robert Patrick. However, he is supposed to play the villain in the next Fast and Furious movie too, Kevin.
I liked him as the father in Blockers.
Yes, he was great in that. John Cena, this is a perfect character for John Cena to play. This show could be a lot of crazy dark fun, kind of up there with The Boys maybe, Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious to see what's going to happen with this in HBO Max. But you know what? We got one more thing to talk about in Let's News because it broke today. And Kevin, I'm just going to say it. Mortal Kombat! You knew it was coming. It's safe.
Did you stop? Okay. I take out my earbuds there.
Yeah. You knew it was coming. It's safe.
I was too late. I missed it.
We haven't done this in long enough, so... It's
okay. So I saw it's a new Red Band trailer for the new R-rated Mortal Kombat.
Exactly. This looks like it could be fun. It is a video game movie, and we're going to trust me. We're not done with our video game movie conversation yet for this episode of Culture Clash. It looks fun. The Red Brand trailer, I think that's great that they threw that out first, saying you want it because what are you going to sell when you're selling Mortal Kombat, Kevin? Blood and fatalities, and this trailer does plenty of that.
This is true. I was telling you before we started recording, when it came to video games, I wasn't into the fighting games, so I wasn't invested in Mortal Kombat. I get it. I did play Street Fighter a few times, and actually I liked that better. And honestly, I like the Street Fighter movie better than the Mortal Kombat movie. But are you excited about this?
I'm intrigued by this. I'm not jumping up and down and bouncing off the walls. Let me put it this way. I'm glad it's going to HBO Max as well as the theaters, because I don't know if I go to the theaters in a rush to go see this. But HBO Max, I'm there opening night.
I'm going to make a bold statement here. You know what a better Mortal Kombat movie is? And I didn't even play the video game it was based on.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
I'm sorry, no.
This is better than Mortal Kombat, the movie, for many, many reasons. Yes, it is. DOA 2006.
Oh. I know why you say that. I'm just not going to go there right now. I would like to keep our listeners.
Devin Aoki. That's all I have to say. Devin Aoki.
Yeah, I'm not. Jamie Presley is a pretty thing too, so I'm just saying.
Yep. Better than Mortal Kombat. Just gonna say. Bold statement.
With that note, before we get into too much trouble,
me a new one right now.
Not yet. It's a little lagging behind, but we'll
Ryan
get there.
Kinney went, ouch.
Yeah. I think that was more for my Mortal Kombat scream, but
okay.
Before we get ourselves in any more trouble, it's time to get out of Let's News, but we have seen a few things, so we're going to have a little fun here with some buy it, stream it, or unsee it. Kevin, you know that in the history of buy it, stream it, or unsee it, I have never had an unsee it film.
Hold on. We did have a guest on that did say unsee it / unmake it.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Yes, I do remember that.
You remember who said that?
I believe that was one Michael Morris.
For Pacific Rim 2, because he was really disappointed at that. He says, no, they should unmake it. So you actually have an unsee it, huh?
I have an unsee it. I can't get this.
Can I just say this? Now I want to see this movie.
Which means Kevin will probably make it a buy it. So the movie I am referring to is the Paul S. Anderson film that he returning with his movie muse Mila Jovovich, diving once again into the realm of video game movies. We have Monster Hunter with Mila Jovovich and Tony Jaa and Ron
Jovovich, I think it is. Mila Jovovich. Yeah. Tony Jaa, that's right. He's in this. And Ron Perlman?
Yeah. And please.
Okay, hold on. Before you say how you feel about it, tell us about it. What is it? Come on. Spoilers. Do it.
Well, it is based off the Monster Hunter video game series by Capcom. This film was also co-produced by Toho Studios, which of course is famous for Godzilla.
Okay.
So you have some amazing creature designs. The story of this film is...
Did you just give it a compliment?
No, I said creature designs. That's about the only compliment I'm going to give this film.
Okay. All right.
Mila Jovovich plays Captain Artemis. And as she leads her battalion of... or her ranger crew to find another missing ranger crew that has been sucked through the portal to another dimension, a dimension filled with monsters that control the planet. Needless to say, it doesn't go well for all of her crew, as they are pretty much wiped out within the first 15 minutes of the film. You have another about 45 minutes of her and Tony Jaa learning to coexist while they try to figure out a way to get out of this trap they've been put themselves in, that's surrounded by a spider scorpion type group of monsters that are basically right out of pitch black because they're afraid of the light. They then have another about 45 minutes of, okay, we've escaped this. We found Ron Perlman, who looks like a reject from the movie Caveman. Yet he's speaking perfect English, even though he's not from the Earth dimension.
Okay, you can't nitpick stuff like that, Kyle. Come on.
Yeah, well,
come on.
But nobody else speaks English.
It's like talking about why we hear sounds in space for Star Wars.
No.
Come on.
Well, no,
Come on.
no. But when you establish that nobody else on this planet speaks English, and every other character
We all know that
yeah.
English is the universal language in all films ever. Come on.
Well, it's how they do it. But anyway, um, it just jumps from sequential nonsense to sequential nonsense. It ends with Milla getting back to the Earth realm, but followed by one of the dragon type creatures from this realm, who she fights basically one-on-one until all of a sudden Tony Jaa appears through the portal to help her out. This movie is bad. Kevin, I'm going to say this movie makes her performance as Alice in Resident Evil look like an Oscar-winning performance. So, yes, Monster Hunters...
What about Cuffs?
Yeah, Cuffs is an Oscar-winning comparatively. Monster Hunter...
Is there anything... But I don't want to go on too much longer, but is there anything redeeming about this movie?
No, there is nothing redeeming about this film.
So if I had the DVD copy in my hand and you were next to me, what would you do?
I would grab it from you and take it to the nearest thrift store. No, actually, I wouldn't even do that. I'd grab it from you, break it, and just say, I'm doing the world a service.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right.
This is going to lead to Kevin watching it and saying it's a
So Monster Hunter, not good. Okay, gotcha.
Not good. I'm also going to have a quick little fun here because, Kevin's been doing his thrift store theater, so I'm going to do a little bit of something else I love, which is anime, especially old school anime. I'm doing a little bit of Kyle's anime flashback. I have recently signed up for the Funimation app, which has an absolutely huge anime library. $6 a month to subscribe to this. It's a well worth it deal. I have been watching a show that I watched when it originally came out. It makes me feel old because it's 15 years old at this point. It is a great show called Eureka 7. And if you have not watched this is one of the all-time classic...
Why did I say it in my head as Eureka?
Because, yeah, I know, I get it, but it's a translation thing. It's an all-time classic anime series, one of the longer series out there. It runs 50 episodes. But beautiful animation, a very interesting story, kind of exploring like surfing culture, but also you have mecha action, you've got an alien type faction to it, you've got political things. It covers all the gambit. Beautifully animated, great music in this series as well. If you're somebody who's looking to maybe get back into the realm of anime but looking for something that's maybe not quite so modern, this is a great show to watch. It was one of my favorite shows when I was at the height of my anime fandom. Some great voice talent in this. Probably known to most would be Johnny Young Bosch, who was actually one of the Power Rangers for a while, but has become a huge voice actor in the anime industry. One of his most famous roles is Vash the Stampede from the Trigun anime, but Eureka 7 is a classic anime. Yeah, I know, over your head, Kevin. Back to Camille. Classic anime, well worth a check out. If you have already watched it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This is one of the better anime series done in the
Question, did they re-release it in any special new format or anything like that?
They did a sequel series called Eureka 7 AO, and then in 2018 there was a release of a kind of a movie cut of this.
To be specific, what format and media? That's what I mean.
It was originally in DVD. You can buy it on Blu-ray and you can buy it digitally on iTunes or stream it from the Funimation app.
Gotcha. Want to let people know where to find it. So
yeah. You're watching a series that I'm getting ready to dive into myself, Kevin. So I'm curious to hear what you have to say about this. Eureka 7 is at least a stream it out there. It's a big investment if you buy it, but definitely stream it. But I'm curious about this next show.
Stream it, okay. And I'm sorry, what was Monster Hunter again?
Burn it, make it go away. Can I have my life back?
I say we take off. Nuke the site from orbit.
Exactly. It's the only way to be sure, Kevin.
Okay, so the next TV series, my buddy Kat went on about, said it was awesome, and I didn't jump on it. It wasn't until we recorded 2 episodes of Bloody Kings, our Highlander podcast, with my co-host Lee Fillingsness, and we were covering the actor Dustin Nguyen, who most of us remember him from 21 Jump Street. And he's from Vietnam, and he's gone on to work in a lot of stuff in film. He has his own production company. He's been doing a lot of directing, behind the scenes, producing. And he appeared in 2 episodes of the 1990s Highlander TV series as 2 different characters. And so as we were doing our research on him, trying to figure out what was going on, found out that he is in several episodes, a reoccurring character in the new HBO Max / Cinemax series called Warrior. And it started in 2019. I believe season 2 is out right now as well. And Kat said he loved it. He went through all of them and watched them. Lee had started watching it, said it was great. I started watching it, and I'm 2 episodes in, and I'm loving it. And it takes place during the Tong Wars in the late 1800s in San Francisco, about a young guy he's like a martial arts prodigy from China, and he immigrates to San Francisco and becomes a hatchet man for the most powerful Tong in Chinatown. Hatchet man basically is muscle, and they call him hatchet mans because a lot of them didn't have guns, so they would use like bladed weapons and stuff like that. And he kicks butt. There's some great action in there, great martial arts, rated adult for many reasons, if you catch my drift. Someone I noticed did a great comparison. They called this a good cross between Peaky Blinders and this underrated gem right here, Banshee, which everyone should be watching. Cat, if you're not watching Banshee, you need to be watching Banshee. If you're a big fan of Anthony Starr, who plays Homelander on The Boys, Kyle, why aren't you watching Banshee and talking to me about it?
I watched Banshee a long time ago. I have not watched the final season.
This is a great series, Banshee. But anyway, I got kind of a Banshee feeling watching this when it comes to like the action and like the severe gore and violence leading from fighting and such. This series is filmed in South Africa, Cape Town, which was the filming location for your horrible movie pick there, by the way, Monsters. A lot of filming going on in South Africa, and they got a lot of great filming locations, and also they got big movie studios down there as well. Back to Warrior, I'm hooked. I'm going to keep watching it. Love it.
It's on season 2 or season right now, isn't it?
Yeah, season 2. Out? And by the way, there's an actor that I loved that was co-star in Banshee that is also co-starring in Warrior.
Cool.
And by the way, it is based on a script and outline that Bruce Lee originally wrote and wanted to produce and follow up on. Of course, he passed away. They kind of turned a version of that into the Kung Fu series in the 70s and early 80s. Wasn't quite the same thing, but this is what this is based on.
Now, Kevin, can I ask you something?
No. What do you got?
Are you sure? I was just going to ask you if you've been in any thrift stores lately.
I have been in a thrift store. Why do you ask, Kyle?
I don't know. It's just usually you always whenever you come out of the thrift store, you usually have a Laserdisc to talk about for me.
Yes, a little segment we like to call here Kevin's Thrift Store Theater, where I like to go into thrift stores and look for used DVDs and Blu-rays and buy them at cheap prices. And I'll watch them and decide whether or not I'm going to keep them and incorporate them into this large physical media library behind me, or if I'm going to sit on it for a little bit and think about it, or if I'm just going to return it right back to the thrift store and donate it back to them, thus calling it a thrift store rental. And I have a film.
Yes, I see you have a film.
So one of the shows that our friend Lacey Adderhold suggested after we were talking in Time Warp about the 1995 films last year, which celebrated their 25th anniversary, there were several films that came out in 1995 that had to do with, ooh, watch out for the internet, or ooh, don't jack in cyberpunky stuff. And so there were several films that came out. And of course, one of the more famous ones is Johnny Mnemonic with, Keanu Reeves. It's all about jacking in and information highway, stuff like that, We also got Strange Days, which was about the year of 1999 turning 2000, about jacking in, kind of similar to what happens in Ready Player 2, by the way. And then, of course, we have probably everyone's biggest favorite is Hackers. Kyle, I know you're a big fan of that. Of course,
I love Hackers.
And this is when the internet was becoming a thing and becoming popular. More people were jumping on it. And there was more problems coming around with the internet. Can you imagine things going wrong on the internet, Kyle?
Without a doubt. But I want you to clarify something for me on this, Kevin.
Yes.
Because there's a special category that a certain member family member of somebody who's key to the Fandom Podcast Network has come up for these movies?
Well, if I think where you're going with it, that would be Lee Fillingsness, right? My co-host of Blooded Kings, because he brought this up in a podcast when we were covering these. As his dad would say, that's not how computers work.
Yeah, I think that is basically the story of all of these movies.
Well, there was one more internet-y / watch out for online horrible stuff going on movie that also came out in 1995, and that was Sandra Bullock's The Net. And I'm holding a DVD of it right here. Kyle, I never saw this when it came out. Never did.
I went and saw this in the theaters. I think there was a part of it I actually fell asleep during.
I could understand that. Now, I got to tell you, we're going to include that in this podcast because it's a 95 film that addressed going online and the dangers of going online. But I got to tell you, of all these films here, this one was probably the more realistic one.
It was probably, honestly, yes, I will give it that. And for the time, it was the most realistic.
I got to tell you, because I actually enjoyed Sandra Bullock being a computer nerd and always having to have a computer with her at all times, because she was like, she worked for this company, basically like a super IT person, but also did gaming. And then it's what happens when she stumbles across something that she shouldn't stumbled across, and her identity gets erased and people try to kill her. Pretty simple, interesting, fun. I don't know if I'm going to keep it in my inventory yet, but I'm definitely going to keep it for a while until we finish that special on Time Warp, talking about the internet. Be afraid of the internet. Remember when that was a thing?
Kevin, I have one more movie to throw in that. It wasn't 95, but it was close. The Lawnmower Man.
Yeah, I kind of watched. I've not seen that since it originally was in the theater. So yeah.
Yeah. Just another one of those computer gone wrong things. So you were undecided on The Net as far as it staying in your library then.
Yeah, I don't think I'll rewatch it. I think I'm one and done with it. So I'm just gonna say I'm probably gonna donate that back to the thrift store. So calling it a thrift store rental theater.
You want to know what the problem is with The Net now, Kevin? It's one of those movies that dated. That's what I'm saying. It dates. It's one of those things that's hard to go back and revisit because it is so dated.
I will tell you this. I really did enjoy watching all the computer techie stuff, even though it was severely dated. It was almost kind of going back in a time capsule. And it's like when you come across an early Apple computer or something like that, and you're like, wow, does it turn on again, or does it turn on still? So it was fun to see Sandra Bullock as a computer nerd that knew her stuff as well. And I thought that was kind of cool, but I don't know how rewatchable it is. I'll probably return it.
But did she know how to use the 3 seashells?
Yes, of course.
Anytime we can slip a Demolition Man reference in for Kevin, it's a good thing.
That's true.
However, we're going to take a quick break, let Kevin and I kind of regroup ourselves here before we dive into our main topic of the show. This might not go over well. It might go over very well. It's hard to say, Kevin, but here's a little promo telling you what else is going on around the Fandom Podcast Network.
Thank you for listening. We hope you're enjoying this podcast. We'd like to continue to feed your ears by inviting you to listen to these other great shows on the Fandom Podcast Network. It starts with our flagship show, Culture Clash, discussing the latest in entertainment pop culture. Blooded Kings, Immortals Take Notice, our show covering the entire Highlander universe. Couch Potato Theaters, where we celebrate our favorite movies. Time Warp, the Fandom Flashback podcast discussing a year in movies and our favorite retro movie and TV pop culture topics. Good Evening, discussing all things Alfred Hitchcock. Union Federation, our Star Trek and Orville show. Hair Metal, the 80s and early 90s rock metal podcast. Type 40, our show covering the time-traveling Doctor Who universe with host Dan Hadley. Lethal Mullet, an 80s and 90s action film podcast with host Adam P. O'Brien. Also check out the Lethal Mullet Network for more great podcasts. What a Piece of Junk, a Star Wars podcast with hosts Scott, Derek, and Nathan. Making Treks, a Star Trek podcast, a deep dive into the final frontier with host Mark Newbold and Adam P. O'Brien. And check out our newest shows, The Fandom Show, our monthly Fandom Podcast Network live YouTube exclusive show about the month's hottest topics in fandom, and the FPN True Believers MCU podcast, discussing the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the related Marvel television and streaming MCU universe, including the connections to the original Marvel comics. You can find the Fandom Podcast Network on several platforms. Please subscribe to the Fandom Podcast Network YouTube channel to receive notifications of new podcast episodes and live events. You can enjoy all of the Fandom Podcast Network audio podcasts on our master feed at fpnet.podbean.com. The Fandom Podcast Network is on all major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast and iTunes. You can find the Fandom Podcast Network on Facebook. You can email us at fandompodcastnetwork@gmail.com. You can also find the Fandom Podcast Network on Instagram at Fandom Podcast Network and on Twitter at FanPod Network. Thank you for listening, and remember, respect others and enjoy your fandom.
Oh, so that's how you get to the podcast. You take a trouble bubble.
Yes.
We are back. Hopefully you're enjoying everything else we do here around the Fandom Podcast Network, but it's time for our main segment of the day here on Culture Clash.
Inspired doesn't think I should open it. He thinks I should keep it like this.
It has a story to it, man.
Yeah, I do kind of. It's like you can't really bend it without doing. I don't know. I got to put it in something. I think maybe but it does. I think this still works. Yeah. See. Yeah. Anyway.
For those who don't know, this is Kevin's RoboCop toy that survived a fire. So it's
it did survive fire and some water damage.
So anyway, our main topic today is the Valentine's Day movie list. Now, this is inspired by something we've recently done on Couch Potato Theater, Kevin.
Yeah, so years ago, I was not feeling Valentine's Day, and I wanted to, because usually when it comes to certain holidays, you like to watch a movie on Valentine's Day, like maybe this one, Valentine's Day, right? Okay. Maybe you want to watch something, I don't know, on Hallmark. Maybe you might want to watch your favorite rom-com or something like that, but wasn't feeling Valentine's Day one year. I'm like, what could I watch that seems very anti-Valentine's Day? Didn't have a lot of love-making things going on, no romance themes and stuff. So I picked 1986's Cobra.
Yeah, I think it's a safe bet.
And I kind of kept it going, even though I did have a reason to celebrate Valentine's Day. I always found a way to kind of sneak it in, maybe the day before, the day of, or the day after. Just started watching Cobra near Valentine's Day. And it kind of became a thing. And so, we celebrated it, Valentine's Day, just last weekend. And you came to me saying, you know what, this would be kind of fun to follow up with on Couch Potato Theater, or on Culture Clash, because me and Lee Fillingsiness recorded Couch Potato Theater of Cobra, which we released on Valentine's Day.
No, wait, get it right. Night Stalker Lee Fillingsiness.
Night Slasher. It's Night Slasher in Cobra.
Yeah, that's right.
Definitely inspired. What's funny about Cobra is that it came out in 86, but it was filmed in 85 when the whole Night Stalker thing was going on in Southern California and scaring the crap out of us. And so I think Brian Thompson, who played the Night Slasher, had some inspiration. But anyway, we wanted to look at films that aren't your typical Valentine's Day type films, and we had to kind of come up with some parameters. So I said, what are your best anti-Valentine's Day movies with no romance threads or intimate physical attraction plots? Post your suggestions, of course, and we will mention them here on the show. And I thought maybe, do you want to do ours first and then go to the comments, or should we do the comments first? What do you want to do?
I think we should do the comments first, but before we do that, Kevin, there are two films that spring to mind that have some physical attraction things, but I still consider them anti-Valentine's Day movies because I think by the time you're done with them, you're so scared to be in a relationship that there's something special. And those two movies are Fatal Attraction, because nobody wants to end up like the bunny.
Okay. There is there's sexual attraction in that one. There's sex in that one.
Yeah.
That you can't use that one.
Well, I'm not using it. I'm not using it on my list, but I think it has to go in a special category because I know many a guy who watched that movie and said, "I'm not ever going to be in a relationship."
Yeah, but it doesn't fall under this category. If you're doing an anti-Valentine's Day one, you're not doing this unless you really hate the person that caused you to not like Valentine's Day this year? Maybe.
Well, and then, like I said, this is a caveat one, and this is the other film, and that's Gone Girl.
This is to kind of just get your head out of romance, get your head out of all of the pressure that people feel during Valentine's Day to sell flowers and cards and candy and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And this is just to give us something, you know.
I understand. I'm just throwing this in as okay, because the other movie I had on that list was Gone Girl. That one will scare you out of relationships too.
Yeah, jeez.
Well, let's get to
Attraction 2.0, maybe.
Yeah. Let's get into some of the fan comments here and what some of our great listeners came up with as far as their anti-Valentine's Day films.
Valentine's Day, get it right, Kyle. Come on.
Hey, I don't have a Valentine at the moment, so
you got 2 kitties. There you go. Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, yeah. So I put the post on Facebook. Got some great replies here. Jennifer, we got to start with you. You said Demolition Man, Silence of the Lambs, and John Wick. Good suggestions, but we had to veto Demolition Man, Kyle.
Too much of a little flirtation thing, romance thing going on with Sandra and Sly in that movie.
I understand wanting to watch that during Valentine's Day, but plus the whole virtual sex thing, I had to throw it out there. But love that movie. She knows how much I love that movie. I know how much she loves that movie. So
quit pandering to Kevin, Jennifer.
Let's see here. Romance-free Wizard of the Oz. That's good, Jennifer. Yeah, I think that can work, definitely. She also said Kingsman, The Secret Service, Dread, Despicable Me, and Minions.
I got to disqualify Kingsman: The Secret Service because there's girlfriend talk in that film.
Yeah, but it's not a major theme, though. I could see that, though. But I love Dread.
Well,
give me some Dread, man. Ugh.
Come on. Do we need to talk about what happened what was insinuated at the end of the movie Kingsman?
No, I don't remember.
It's involved a certain princess.
No, I don't remember.
Yeah, but no, Kingsman's disqualified. Sorry, Jennifer.
Lacey. Oh, she knows how to give us some categories here. She says She said Tucker and Dale versus Evil. I have not seen that. Both the Boondock Saint movies.
Time out. You haven't seen Tucker and Dale versus Evil?
No, I have not. I've heard about it, but I have not seen it. It's been recommended though.
Okay, as much as you're enjoying Resident Alien right now, you need to get all over it for the Alan Tudyk. Your twin brother Alan Tudyk.
Yeah, I've heard that it's good. Yeah, the Boondock Saints movie, great choices.
Yeah,
I don't remember anything regarding that. There, Die Hard with a Vengeance. I love that one. I love, and that's actually my favorite Die Hard movie. I love that movie. Bunraku, I think I saw that. I don't remember that well. She also said RoboCop, Chainsaw Massacre, Silent Rage. I believe that is the Chuck Norris movie, if I think, and Predator. She said so. What about RoboCop though? I mean, he kind of has the memories of the romance and the love with the family. Is that?
I think because I think it helps him regain his humanity a little bit there. So
but you don't see it. I mean, you see it in flashbacks. Yeah, that still kind of counts.
That falls in that nether realm that we have with this here.
Dan Lee said Knights of Badassdom. The Last Action Hero. Yeah. Kill Bill. We don't get the wedding scene till part 2. So technically, From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah, there we go.
Good.
Well, except we might all be crushing on Selma Hayek. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's true. Joseph Big Hauser says My Bloody Valentine's Day. Lee said Vulgar the Clown.
Oh yeah, let's not go there.
I'm a little disappointed, Lee, that you didn't come up with something more mainstream that we could easily find and know what you're talking about, because I have not seen Vulgar the Clown, but apparently it's bad.
That's not why we want to watch something anti-Valentine's Day, but we don't want to get any more depressed either. That's
true. Lacey goes on and she says, I'm surprised nobody mentioned any of the Expendables.
There's romance in that, though.
There is romance in the first one.
Yes.
With
Charisma Carpenter and Jason
Statham. Yes. So, yeah. The other ones maybe bromances, but I don't know.
But we'll get to that in a minute, too.
The Dead Don't Die. I saw that movie, the recent one. I don't remember romance, Hard Candy. Oh God, yeah, that definitely no romance in that. Straight up horror film there.
Yeah.
Brightburn. I've been meaning to see that.
That's a good movie.
Knives Out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm glad she mentioned this, but I got to throw it out there as caution. She mentioned the Fallen trilogy. Olympus Has Fallen, London Has Fallen, and Angel Has Fallen. And I love those. She says the first one has a kiss or two in the setup for losing the first lady, and the rest has nothing to do with smooching. I absolutely love those movies. Love those movies. Hunter Killer, the other one that I mentioned too. That one is so good. If you have not seen Hunter Killer, got to see that movie. Really, really good. One of my favorites. And my friend Polly says Army of Darkness. Give me some sugar, baby. Followed up by that just pillow talk and the ultimate. You got real ugly.
You're disqualified to give me some sugar, baby. Sorry. That's a Valentine's Day line.
Just one kiss, you think? Really?
It's too popular a saying.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, so those are all great suggestions. There was some other ones that I saw too. Snowpiercer, School of Rock, Few Good Men. Now there was nothing with Demi and Tom there. Nothing. Midnight Run. Yeah. Hunt for Red October. I already said that right. Perfect Storm, 12 Angry Men. There you go.
Yep, there we go. Well, let's dive into our list, Kevin.
Yes.
So, would you like to go? I will go first, so you can kind of close out since this was your brainstorm.
Okay, sure.
Brainstorm of an idea. So, for me, on my anti-Valentine's list movie, I have Rambo: First Blood, not Rambo 2. A little bit of romance in Rambo 2.
Yep.
Can't do it. I have Predator, but Kevin, we had to talk about this off mic. Is there too much bromance in Predator?
Yeah, there's some moments there, definitely, bromancing, but yeah.
Yeah. Next up on my list, the original Alien. Not Aliens, and Kevin and I are having a bit of debate on this because I think there was some flirting going on between Hicks and Ripley and Aliens.
Not enough to stop it from being mentioned in this. I think there was no kiss. There was no physical thing going on. So I'm gonna say Aliens can also fall underneath that. Well, hold on. Yeah, I guess you don't count what happens with the aliens. I mean, what the aliens do to people, does that count as sexual? Because they literally kiss you,
Okay, we'll consult Aaron on this.
I'm gonna ask her. What do you think? Do you think this fits that category or not?
Okay, moving on. Number 4 on my list is The Raid, Kevin. If you can't, yeah, I mean, come on now.
One of the best action movies out of the last 10 years, and really kind of perfected a certain style of action movie as well. Yeah, man, no romance. No time for love, Dr. Jones, in that one.
Finally, for me, Crimson Tide, because you can't put Denzel Washington and Gene Hackman in a sub full of guys and have any kind of romantic thing going on.
Not at all. So yeah, that's definitely a good choice. Yeah.
So What about you, Kevin?
Okay, so my number 5 is Escape from New York.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
I mean, no love going on there. Nothing. There's really not a lot of that you see in John Carpenter films, actually. He's not about the romance, He's really not. Now, I have a Rambo film on here as well, Kyle. Not Rambo 2, not Rambo 3, but Rambo 4.
That's the one with Julie Benz and they're down in the jungle and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Hour and a half, nothing but good old Rambo action. No romantic, nothing. Just a great anti-Valentine's Day movie right there. And lots of death.
Yes.
I think the last half hour of that film is him actually on that machine gun mount on that Jeep and just blowing people away. Number 3, Beverly Hills Cop, Kyle.
What's funny about this is there was a cut of this film that would disqualify it for Valentine's Day because there's a long rumored thing that one of the items that was dropped from this film was a romantic thing between the Jenny Summers character and Axel Foley.
I heard the same. Yeah. I don't know if they were, ready to go that route back in that day, but nothing romantic about that movie. It is funny and action packed. So,
yes.
Yeah. 2, Commando.
I have 2 words for you: flying saw blades.
I mean, it's just about him trying to get his daughter, and this doesn't count in that situation. And you got Radon Chong helping out the Commando. Nothing. She's not even commenting on him. She's just there to help use rocket launchers incorrectly and help fly a plane. I don't know. Nothing, right? So yeah. And my number 1, brought up by Jen, is John Wick. Now, this could fall under like no. This is where RoboCop kind of comes in, where it's a memory and there's something that happens, so I don't know. What do you think?
I think you can get away with this maybe more with John Wick 2 and John Wick 3, but John Wick 1 is very much about his wife just died. So there's a lot of heartbreak and a lot of love in that. The puppy, there's a lot of his actions are based off of the love of his wife and his anger that they took away the last thing he got from her. So you could say it's a man on a love vengeance tear.
Yeah, I thought about that, but man, that happens in the beginning of the film, for like the first 10 minutes. And then the rest of the film is nothing but him just hunting down some bad guys and killing them.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think,
but it's not like a theme that goes along through the whole film. I mean, it's just it sets it up. But then at the end of the film, he's watching the video of his wife who's passed away. So
I think you get away with it.
How that could be disqualified, but I'm not going to because it's my category.
Yeah. Well, to me, I see you could definitely do John Wick 2, John Wick 3. I think John Wick 1, you're right in that fine line. I'm going to let it slide because I know where John Wick lies with you, and it is your idea. So, do you have? Okay, let's throw out here because we brainstormed a few. Do you have any other honorable mentions? Maybe something that hasn't popped in your head, or it hasn't been mentioned here.
It had been mentioned, but the first Kill Bill, I think, can fall underneath that because she's. Like John Wick, she's getting revenge from, her being shot at her wedding, but you really don't get the wedding scenes until Kill Bill 2. It's pretty much a straight on revenge flick, that first film, but Kill Bill 2 really gets into the backstory and the setup, and then her final confrontation with the rest of the Kill Bill clan. And I made a point on Blood of Kings that I actually prefer Kill Bill 2 over the first one. It's more Tarantino for me, and I absolutely love it. But I would throw out Kill Bill. What about you?
I've kind of thought about it. I'm going to go to an animated side of it. I'm going to go to Transformers the movie.
Yeah. Definitely.
There's no romance in that movie. There's a planet eating other planets, but
but I mean, that's a cartoon. I think you should kind of stick to maybe more the live action kind of feature thing going on. I don't know. I could see where you're going with that, but yeah. I don't know. Anything else? You got any other choices? We got.
Nothing that can
see. He likes Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
That's a great pick. That is.
Kat says, by the way, from Dusk Till Dawn, there's a lot of sexual innuendos in that movie.
Yeah, there is a lot of sexual.
Was there sex actually seen, and was there a love story or a romance in there? Besides talking about sex and seeing, breasts. I mean, I don't know. It's not Showgirls. I love it when I get a face palm from Kyle.
Kevin's mandatory once an episode mention of Showgirls now.
That's right. I'm going to go watch this. DOA.
That is definitely a Valentine's movie, Kevin.
Come on, cute girls kicking ass with swords. Nothing wrong with that.
Kevin's going to watch DOA, and I'm not going to mention anything
No,
else.
I'm going to bed because I'm going to get up early to watch WandaVision before I go to work. That's what I'm doing.
There you go. Oh, hey, you want a suggestion to Raid 2? There you go.
Oh yeah, there you go. Definitely. So, but anyway, I want to thank the chat for checking in with us. I know it's been a while. Thanks for hanging in there with the chat issues. Finally, it came up, so that's good. So,
Yep.
And Carlos, I'm gonna hold on to RoboCop a little bit longer. We'll see. Maybe I can stick it in something. But I think it was Jen that said you got a story with this. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Speaking of RoboCop 2, I mean, there was no love between RoboCop and Ed 209.
This is very, very, very true. Yes.
I would buy that for $1.
And RoboCop made sure that a villain could never make love again, too.
Yeah. Well, he made sure several of them couldn't do that, but there we go. Anyway, thanks for joining us, chat. Thanks for all you listeners out there. Enjoy the show. We're going to get back on a regular schedule here soon, but, it's always fun to talk fandom with you guys. And as always, before we close out, as the great Caesars once...
Oh, real quick before you go, I just want to say, make sure you guys check out the newest show again. We're really proud of it. I think we got a fun format as we're doing it. We'll be looking to get guests on too as well, talking about what's happening with all of the Marvel shows that come out. So keep that in mind and keep watching the channel. So there we go.
Yep. True Believers, you can find it on fpnet.com, of course, on all your great podcast catchers. But as I was going to say, as the great sages once said, be excellent.
The great who?
The great sages.
Who's the great sages?
That would be Mr. Bill S. Preston Esquire and Ted Theodore Logan.
Gotcha.
Be excellent to each other. And as we like to say here around the Fandom Podcast Network, enjoy your fandom. And we are out. Thank you, chatters. We love you guys. Hope everybody's doing well and staying safe.
No closeout music. I was kind of getting ready to jam to it.
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm tired. I'll edit it in on the podcast version. Sorry.
Thank you, YouTube chat. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Good suggestions. And I love chatting with you guys during the show. You guys make it fun.
Yep.
Thank you.